Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, we're going to continue on this early 70s Rupp mini bike that we dragged out of a storage bin as a basket case. Literally, it was in milk crates. And it was missing about 20% of its parts, so we made a few things and adjusted, but I have a feeling we still have a few more to go. Previous video, we were able to get the engine to run, go through the drivetrain, through the torque converter setup, and power the back tire and spin the back tire. That's where we left off. So we're going to continue on and start attacking a bunch of the other stuff. The exhaust is just sitting on there. That's not welded to anything. There's no throttle linkage set up. There's no brakes. There is no brake levers. Throttle itself, who knows what the gas tank looks like. The front wheel does not have a axle for it. There's just a bolt sitting in there trying to hold pieces together for now. Front fender is just sitting on there. Pull start doesn't work correctly. Other than that, it's pretty decent. So, having said that, let's start wrenching. Probably we'll get going on that front wheel. I got a new tire and tube for it, so let's go get the bike spun around and we'll start working from there out. So I got a new tire and tube for it, just like the back tire, but we are missing the axle. And I believe, I don't know if we have the spacer in between. Might be something there. Yeah, that's in there. So that's good. We don't have to make that part. But we do need to come up with something that could be an axle for that. I can go all the way across and clamp down on that assembly. So we'll take a measurement between those two forks. Looks like roughly about 6 inches. And we probably need, I don't know, about an inch sticking out each side. Let's go shopping. Yeah, that is roughly 5.5. So essentially what we want is like a really long bolt. Let me be a little bit of a tough order to find. This is our first looking place. Take a quick peek. See anything? Oh, that one's too short. Let's go up in the attic. And what about that one right there? What is that one got to do for us? Here's the brake hub, so it's got to be snug on that. That's a little sloppy too. That's probably going to be too short. Nope. Looks like longer stuff. They're going to be too skinny too though, huh? Actually, that's not too bad. If we have to make shims, to make a space, that's probably going to be about the same. Alright, we'll hold that. We'll take the longer one and we'll keep looking. Got a couple old front ends. That one's too skinny. It's probably going to be about the same thing, right? Yeah, it's going to be too small. And we got a parts Honda 70. Actually, doesn't look too bad. Might be the same as what we got. We can grab a measurement off it somewhere. I think that, yeah, it's going to be about the same as what we have with that bolt. See if that'll, yeah, it's going to be a little on the skinny side. We're going to need either 2 nuts together or jam nut to keep it from backing off. Yeah, we're only making that by a couple of threads. I don't know if we're making that by that much. I wouldn't exactly say that's ideal. How we fit in the wheel. Tad sloppy there too. I'm gonna take it right to the hardware store. Made it with 5 minutes to spare. We got 9/16 bolt with a jam nut, and the jam nut starts jamming right away. Does that make sense? So that'll be good. We can go crank that down. That won't back off on us. And so now we're going to need to make some spacers. Hopefully it fits in there. And it's a snug fit. Maybe something like that. We need 2 spacers. One. That dimension. We'll probably start with that one first and then bolt it. And see how it looks. We got to get a piece of pipe that'll fit over that bolt and we'll cut off a section. I think on the back we ended up using a piece of jack handle. I don't know if we have any of that that left. Yeah, I ain't gonna make it. Yeah, that was like a piece of red jack, like a bottle jack. Oh, that right there. That might do. There's that one, and we'll just kind of do the same for the other side. And repeat the same thing all over again. Yeah, right about. We need a little bit more than that because we'll give it that and a hair more because it recesses down into the wheel. That looks pretty good. It's got a decent clamp on the brake retainer. So it generally kind of favors one side. The rear was the same way too. And I took a tape measure across the top of the shocks and the bottom of the shocks, just making sure I'm not pinching them in or out, so when the suspension travels, it's a straight line going up into them. That looks pretty decent. All right, we go take that back apart and get a tire on it. I do not have a bead protector, so we have to come up with some kind of, you know what's coming. Nothing to see here. Like you haven't done it before. Come on now. You think I would have ordered one with the tire? Can you guess what's in the background? More of the same. And we'll come back and give her a little extra zest. Kind of does the same idea. I'll use up this roll. There you go. Perfect. Right about there. That's custom right there. I pumped it up and it hasn't gone flat yet. I figure maybe we'll jump on to, we're going to need some kind of brake lever for that little half moon looking thing. So I figure we'll go up in the stash, see if we can go find something else for that. I think the back is probably going to be the same setup. So we're going to need two of them. At least one. Oops, sorry. At least one. Let's go see what we can find. If anything kind of looks like that. Maybe bicycle? Actually, the rear has one. We need one for the front. And we need it to be about that long. I would think maybe in this area. I'll tell you what, we might as well grab a couple of cables and stuff too while we're here, right? Bring you back if I find anything good. Kind of like I visualized in my head was, I thought like one of the bicycle wheels has it where the hole in the back is squared off to keep the bolt from spinning. I may just be wrong. Could probably go with one of those, right? We'll just cut it. We make some kind of weld some kind of nut to it. The one down below is smaller. Or we could just take a file. We just take a file and open up the slot to be squared off like we need. Yeah, we'll do that if we don't find anything else. Now I think I remember. VW carburetor. That's what's got that little notch in it. We get one with a linkage on it. I think that is squared off underneath. I'm not sure. It looks like it's going to be a little on the large side compared to the one that we need. Yeah. I was thinking of something along those lines though. Maybe we can go with one of them. I'm going to take a quick peek, see if there's maybe a smaller shaft set up on one of these. I knew something was key that had that look to it. B-dub. How about we take one of these bastard ones apart? That looks like a good victim, huh? For that matter, maybe even small engine, like a small engine carburetor, I think is keyed like that too. But I don't think that arms are going to be all that tough. I have a feeling these are going to be oversized. Let's find out. Come on. You think we're going to get lucky? I thought it was going to be too big. Apparently not. To here under. At least the width wise. Good. That means we can work with that. Let's go check. It doesn't really matter which one we... The other thing too, we probably need to look at which way it's keyed, because it needs to point. So the cable is going to be coming in from there. So we need, if that was keyed like that, we cut all the extra junk off. Like that. That actually might not be too bad. Yeah. Yeah, let's go take a file and whittle that open a little bit. See if we give it a haircut first, get some of that crap out of the way. This might take a while. I think we got it. Not quite sure. We want to go like that. Like that. It's kind of far away. Wish it kind of split the difference, but let's go with this way. And we'll get like a spring washer to go over it. Maybe a regular washer. And I dug up a nut for it. Let's throw all that back on the front of the bike. We'll leave this kind of as it is for now. As we go ahead and run cables, we'll figure out one of two things. I might just go and like weld a nut or drill a hole so it kind of lines up. Again, we'll screw with that when we get the bike together and we're working on the brake lever. Let's keep moving forward, right? Make progress. Yeah, see how it does for functionality. I knew I should have taken that little linkage out and cleaned it up. It works. It's a little close to that spacer. We may have to take a little bit of a nick out of that lever, give a little bit of clearance to it. Yeah. Yeah, we do it right. Because we do it twice. That might need a little cleaning. That's better. Cut the little notch in there too to give it a little bit of clearance. That's got it now. Hey, what do you want to do next? I know one thing that was annoying us, was annoying me, I'm sure it was annoying you, is the pull start was not catching very well. So let's go throw the other two bolts in the engine, mount that permanent, get this pull start off of here, either swap it out with one that works correctly or try to fix this one. Yeah, that. Well, did it once. It would catch like that. Let's get that out of there and see what we can find is the issue. So although the pull start's kind of, you know, not exactly drawing everything back in and flopping all over the place, use a little bit of love and a little bit of lube. That's really not where the issue is. Inside here is three or four ball bearings, and they, when this spins, go to the outside and lock in. More than likely they just have some grease packed up on them and got a little bit of goobered up, and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So let's go get the screen off of here, and we'll back, this is kind of like a big nut, we'll back this thing right off and see if we could take that apart and look inside there. Look at the center, I can see the retaining clip is half hanging out. There may have been somebody there ahead of us. Yeah, let's go get that spun off of there. And we'll go around the bison, and go take her apart. There's one of the balls right there. Yeah, you can see the retaining clip's already like half hanging out. I would suspect you just got some crap in the path that they travel. It looks pretty clean. I expect to see more crap than that. And that's the one it catches on, depending on, you know, what spot that it's on. Huh. Yeah, I definitely expected to see more crap. I wonder if the plate is damaged and it was holding them. You don't want to go with a, especially in the center here, you don't want to go with a thick oil, very light, like automatic transmission fluid. You go any heavier, sometimes what happens is the oil is so heavy. If you ever see, yeah, you fire something up with a pull start and you rev it up and it wants to go, it makes that weird goosing sound. It tries shooting the cord, the pull start, right back out of it again. It's because the oil is so thick. As the engine shaft is spinning, this is supposed to float on there. Instead, it starts to grab it and spin it out, and that's what throws at your pull start rope. I'm gonna go clean that up real quick. Again, put a little bit of light oil on it, get whatever crap is on it off of it, and see if it recovers. I'm also gonna look for like little damage on the corners where it hits on. Kind of just sits like that. And get you over the top of it. Kind of see what's going on better. You can see the one paw that'll grab on, and it'll wedge that paw on the ball like that and catch, and it allows you to pull start it. But as soon as it starts, and the pressure, you know, you already pull started, so this gets released. Then once you rev it up, all four of these balls go to the outside corners and get out of the way. They hide in your, you know, just a centrifugal force pushes them to the outside. Got the other engine over here. It was originally on. Let's go take that one apart. It's a different style, but I noticed a bunch of wear on that center. Let's see if this one's any better. Let's got more of them. Is more balls better? We may just steal this whole assembly, because that definitely has a lot more areas to catch than this one. And what I was looking at was the wear on the edge of that right there. I think that's what kind of was letting it skip over itself. And this one's got a much more possibilities. Everything else looked the same. Yeah, we'll go with this style. But you can tell these engines were either very hard to start or they got a lot of hours on them. That one's got a lot of hammer marks on it too. But it's got, what, 6 times the chances of catching than the other one. That's it. Just put the balls back in it. Put the roof back on. And down in the center, like I said, just a very light oil. This is like sewing machine oil. Again, it's very thin. Put a little bit of that. That's, a lot of times you can leave it dry too. It depends on what your climate is. If you deal with rust, you might want to put a little bit of oil on it. But if not, if you're in a dry climate, you probably just clean it and leave it with nothing on it at all. And just spin her back on. I'll hit it with the pliers to crank down a little bit, but as you pull start it, it'll want to tighten down on it anyway. We got that back on. Threw a couple of bolts in the motor too. See? Well, that's better. You see, we put a little bit of gas in the carb. Call it cold start. And any of that went to the flow pole. I did kind of make one mistake. We made the intake manifold. Notice I say we. Without the front tire on it. When we're trying to pitch it straight, now that the front tire's on it, it's slightly downhill. Let's give her some choke. It's just on idle right now. That ground wire's not touching anything. Get rid of the choke. Run out of gas in a second. You know I'm asking for trouble. All right, let's go spin it around and do some final touch-ups on the back wheel. All right, now we got it spun around. A couple things that need to be addressed. That might be one. We are missing a shock on one side. It's missing the rubber bushings for that shock also. And we only have one of these. These are one of the, this is the, they are the tension adjusters for the back wheel. And they're just essentially a big cam, a washer that's on a cam. You can see how it's offset. And it pushes off that little tab right there. And the more you turn it, the more it pulls the back wheel away. As you can see, that one's pretty much all the way in on the chain side, which is pretty good. It gives you room for adjustment. But on this side, we do not have one because it did not come with one. We're missing a bolt for the wheel too. They were an odd size. I think they're British standard. It's a weird Italian, I think it said made in Italy on the rims. So you got that to deal with. And I believe we are missing a tooth. I thought we were missing a tooth. Yeah, missing a tooth on that front sprocket. I can't get that front sprocket off without damaging it. I don't know if we're just gonna go leave that alone and maybe we'll put a little bit of weld on the tip of that and file it away right where it sits. Well, let's get that wheel off of there. We'll get that cam out of there. We got to build that, and we'll take a look at that shock and see what we can do for getting bushings for it. Sorry about that noise in the background. That's the heat that keeps kind of coming on and off. So we need to come up with essentially like a big slug that we can drill an offset hole in, roughly about that diameter. I was gonna try getting the axle back out of there, but it's fighting me a little bit. So maybe we'll just measure across that, try to find a circle about that big, or make a circle that big. So I think I was able to find was a fender washer that's about the same diameter as it. So my thinking is we just kind of, I don't know, drill a hole like right there. It's a fairly large bolt though, so it's going to break into here. We'll see how it does. Again, we just have to be able to rotate it and lock once it's you know, clamped down. Here's the other thing too. It pulls tension towards. Adjust the tension, but it also is a stop. So especially on the other side, with the chain is trying to pull forward on the wheel, instead of trying to rely on the bolt, it rests on that nub in here. It can't push forward because there's a support between there, and right now it doesn't have it. Let's go drill that out, see what we get. It'll work, but I think I could actually come a little bit closer to the center because it's such an overstatement of the I don't know what you want to call it. The cam is drastic that you're trying to go turn it up. It's a very quick, steep curve. I'm gonna do another one. It ain't gonna make any difference. I'll do another hole a little bit closer. Probably break into that center, but make it a little bit closer to the middle. That's the right one. Okay, see how much of a cam difference it makes? Over or under? Maybe under. Or over. So that should work for that. Probably could have even been a little bit closer to the center, but I think that'll work for us. So here's the factory shock that's supposed to be on it, but unfortunately somebody stole the grommets, or they rotted out or fell out or whatever. I'm going to go run that over the wire wheel, kind of clean off some of the crap, and then we'll go searching for something to put in there. So we need to make that look like that with a rubber on the outside and a metal spacer on the inside. My first area to look is the land of rubbers. I try to put like similar things together. You take something apart, you get leftover parts, and you just kind of throw them in the drawer. I don't think we're going to find what we need here, though. I was kind of wondering if we can take, like a large solid piece of rubber and stick it in a vise and just crush it right through. I wonder if it would cut the hole for at least the outer part. It would drill the inner part. Looks a little promising, huh? I know it's way too big, but that's like a car shock bushing. I wonder if we got any old like motorcycle shocks upstairs. Of course we do, right? And maybe we can try to steal something out of one of them. As I'm walking by, I'm looking at a bearing. Why couldn't we use a little bearing? I know it's a harder ride, but if we were able to get a bearing that was the right size, because the shock, you know, the energy a lot of times isn't straight up and down. So a lot of times the shock kind of rocks a little bit during its motion. So that's what the rubber kind of takes, that little cushioning out of it. But let's go look for other stuff first. If not, maybe we'll chase that avenue. Yeah, they're probably gonna be too large. They're too big. What about, I think this is Honda 70. There, I think the idea that's too big. That one actually, do they look like they're the same size or no? Is that, looks larger, doesn't it? We'll grab that. Yeah, that one's, the middle of that one's boned. Yeah, we'll grab both of these. What are those shocks eye up? They're pretty much a hair taller. I don't know, I kind of like to stick with the original ones. But I don't see that. Let's try the one that's missing the thing in the center. See if I can get that out of there. Sometimes you can collapse them. There it goes. Like that. We'll luber that up and try shoving it in the hole. It's definitely much larger, but let's see if we can fold it. See if it'll unfold. Come on. Screwdriver probably would help me right about now. Yes, you're gonna do it. So we could stick like a piece of, there we go. Yeah, we'll get like a little piece of pipe for that one. Hopefully, we could try doing the same thing on that. Let's go steal the bottom one out of it and see if we can do that same thing all over again. There's that second one. Damn it. we got it. Now we got to come up with a couple of metal bushings that'll fit in there. I don't think that's going to fit in there. And it's kind of big for the bolt that we need anyway. But let's go try to find something a little smaller than that. I think that'll work out for both of us. Where's the bolt? So we want to try to find something closer to that size. Over by the lathe was this pail of spacers, bushings. That's going to be the same thing. I don't remember seeing any really small stuff in here. Go dig down low. If I find anything, I'll bring you back. If not, we'll continue the hunt. We just need really a piece of pipe that we can cut some pieces out of. This toolbox has a bunch of black iron fittings in it, but I think they're going to be too thick. Oh, that's close. This can be off a little. It's like right there. Let's go. Yeah, what a piece of copper. I don't think we're having anything that tiny though. Nah, it's not gonna be ½ inch. It's gonna be small. So that, what's that right there? I don't know. Well, yeah, too big. So look for a piece of pipe. Yeah, it's getting closer. Back to the stash. Maybe worst case, you make one on the lathe. I think we'll probably go with that. Those last ones we just had. What's that right there? It might work. It looks kind of thin. It kind of looks like an antenna, almost. I think the wall is very beefy. You got to be able to crush down on it with the bolt. Yeah, close. Just need so that bolt fits in there. Oh, so close. One more maybe. And go up one size. I'm afraid the vise is gonna crush it. Now I got it. Do two of them. Well, we're all shocked up. That worked out pretty good. I see this hanging. My guess is that's where the factory exhaust. They decided to route that. I don't know if we can want to attempt that. Where would? It actually didn't look too bad on the other side where it was. I don't know if we'll. I don't know if you want to try wiggling it in between there or not. It's already got a heat shield on it, so it's not like it'll burn your leg too bad, right? It's got that on there. I think if we just cut back a piece of pipe that's in there. If we cut about an inch coming out of the engine, we could probably catch that bolt hole right there. Right, like that. Actually, you could probably cut a little bit off the muffler too. Be nice if we can, because the problem is if I weld that, that's it. You're not gonna be able to take it off, you know, because you have to unthread. You have to unthread this part. I wonder if you can make like a tiny, tiny exhaust clamp. See how close they are together. Or maybe not even welded at all. So it'll be up on. Yeah. Might not be able to, not even need to weld it at all. Maybe we'll just kind of let it float and hang off that bolt. So let's cut that to, I don't know, we'll leave about a 1/2 inch or so. Right? We say the bolt was right there. That's where the bolt is. And then we could probably also cut a little bit off of, well, we'll see. Let's go cut that piece and we'll see how far we can ram it down over the top of that. Get a better adjustment. And I'd say probably right about there, we'll nick it. Well, if I screwed it up, I still got another piece to work with. Let's see how far we could choke up on that. It's pretty snug too. I think we're gonna have to, where we're at, right there is bolted. Actually doesn't look too bad, does it? I don't think it's gonna leak all that much neither. And it's kind of good in the exhaust to have a little bit of flex somewhere in it. I'm gonna go throw a bolt in that. I don't know. I think maybe we shouldn't reinvent the wheel on this one. Quite sure what's going on there. Might bend that up a little bit. Get the heat shield away from the muffler so that when your skin sticks to it, it's not as hot. Just kind of something like that. That looks like, hopefully that unthreads. If not, it's staying just like it is. Like to unthread that, put a shim behind it to hold that out a little bit. That one seems good. That one seems good. I'll see if I can get that off. There's no head on it. It's a regular screw, but it's all goobered up. I'll snap it off. It feels like it's going to snap off, and I'm going to dig a hole. I'm leaving it alone. All right, let's regroup where we are, what we got done. Engine's bolted down. The pull start's fixed. The front wheel is done. The spacers are made for it. Tire's done. Tube. Brake lever. The back cam is done. The exhaust is done. Things to do on the shocks are done. We got to bolt the gas tank down, take a look at the gas tank, look inside it. We got the fender to bolt up in the front. I have some generic fender. I may try to go get shoved on the back. Probably should have done that when I had the tire off, huh? A cover. Yeah, we could live dangerously. We could put a cover over the clutch. Not so worried about that. Get the air cleaner on it. So we got air cleaner, gas tank, fenders, brake cables and levers, and throttle, I think is where we are. Kill switch, that might help in case it sticks full throttle. And probably a primer bulb because it has the capacity on that carburetor. So that's our shopping list of things to get finished. We're getting there. Oh, and the tooth on the sprocket if we want to go deal with that. So underneath that red fender is chrome. What do you think the chances are? Oven cleaner. We'll peel that off. My guess is just kind of like spray bomb stuff. We'll let that soak a little bit. See if that'll lift it. I don't have any paint stripper, but sometimes this stuff is close. See what that does. Maybe I'll screw with the back fender while that's sitting up. That'll look good. So that's one of those fenders from OCC chopper. Those bicycles with the fat tire in the back. I think we could possibly use that. Too bad it's not a little bit longer. I want to try to keep it from flinging crap up into here. I don't know. We can go, maybe go right about there with it. So we can make a bracket from there to the bottom of the fender. But up here, plus you got to remember the suspension moves. So here, it's never going to hit here. But over the top, we definitely have to make a bunch of clearance. Yeah, you don't want that digging in back here. That would be an abrupt stop. I think we'll get rid of the bracket for the muffler, get that out of our way. And I'll probably make like a, I don't know, maybe a 2-inch piece of steel. We'll come up, I'll throw a bolt through there. I'll drill a hole, put a bolt through there for that one. And then we'll figure out the upper one. We'll make that one up as we go along. I whipped out the brackets on the back one, got that one done. I thought the center hole was tapped. Nope. So I had to do a couple of self-tappers next to it. And the front fender, I think I'm gonna let it soak overnight, and we'll pick it back up in the morning and see if that does anything for us. Let's go give her a quick rub, see if we're getting her. Nice. I'm gonna go try wiping that off with a rag real quick and see what we get. Maybe soak it one more time. Well, that was a definite improvement. Let me go hit it one more time. Also, the sometimes the gas tanks, someone was saying, are chrome, and that was painted over. We go wiggle that out of there real quick. We'll see if we see any kind of peakings of chrome. Maybe we'll do the same on that. We'll just let it soak. And what about right there? I don't think we can hurt it. It's looking pretty cruddy. We gotta come up with a nipple for that, huh? Alright, yeah, let me go spray this down too. It doesn't look like it's very good paint. The frame looks like it was probably originally red. And it got painted yellow at some point. So we'll try the gas tank first, see what it does. Again, I'm not much into doing all the paint. I'm just trying to get the mechanicals up and running now, and possibly just take everything off of it, which wouldn't take very long, and paint the frame and clean it up. But I'm working on just trying to get all the mechanicals. But while we're here, yeah, let's go throw some on that, see what we get to. I don't know if that looks like a part of a decal. I think that's a decal right there. So that's not going to be saved. Yeah, it's painted right over a sticker. Is right there. See the outline? Oh well. It's about 18 hours later. Let's see if anything. I'd definitely say that yellow paint is better than the red that was on the fender. Yeah, it's not coming off. Oh well. Alright, I'm gonna go stick it under water with some Scotch-Brite, knock that stuff off of there, finish up cleaning up that fender, and I'll put that front fender on. I'll pop that tank back on there. Needed a fitting going into the tank, so I used the same ones that we used on the shocks, and I took it on the lathe with a file, ground down one side of it, and then just put a couple of grooves in it, kind of mimicking a barb for a hose. Threaded that up in there, and then we have a fuel nozzle on it. Still haven't hooked it up yet, but we'll get to that. So the next thing is brake levers, throttle. Those kind of things need to get set up. So I went shopping upstairs, and I came across one of the kits that come with one of those gas-powered bicycles, and it looks like it has a kill button on it, throttle cable, a throttle, and a grip for the other side. So you probably could use all that for the throttle. And it does have the carburetor with the little primer bowl setup on it, so I'll probably run the hose on that if that'll fit on there. This is for, I don't know if it's for like a chainsaw or something. But I'm gonna throw that on there too, so if, when it's cold, we can just give her a couple of pumps real quick and it'll shoot some raw fuel into the carb. I don't know if that's gonna be big enough. Generally the ones that come on, like this carburetor would be on a snowblower. They're usually the ones that are like an inch and a quarter diameter. So I don't know if I'll have push enough air into the bowl to prime it, but we'll see. I think I'm gonna jump ahead, guys. I don't think I'm gonna film the rest of getting this going. We gotta get this video kind of knocked out, so I gotta get some work done. So I'll bring you back when I get some parts put on there. And a little side clip. I was on the way over to the shop, and I forgot to go throw a junk bike that I have behind the garage in for the brake levers for the bike. And as I'm like, oh well, I'll see what I have there. As I'm continuing on down the road, there's a guy taping free signs on a bicycle. Just so happens on the side of the road. I don't think it's anything special. It's probably like a Walmart bike or something, but looks pretty complete. He said it does not shift. One of the rails, I don't know if it was the front or the rear, he said it doesn't shift. He said the tires are good and all. And I said, fine, I'll grab that. I threw it in the truck. I don't quite have the heart to tear that apart right now, but if I have to, I will. But I'll shop for other stuff, see if I have something around here to steal the parts off of, and maybe we can, I don't know, is there any interest in doing a free bike on the side of the road repair? Let me know. I do have a little bit of a pile over here. I think I found my victim. Which will probably be that lever and that lever. Want to put a horn on it too? Every time the benches just get so trashed. I think we are about there. Other than maybe some chain guards, I think everything else is pretty much knocked out. We have a throttle with a bunch of cobbled together different pieces. I ended up drilling a hole right through the linkage here, and there's a screw coming up from the bottom, and then I tightened it with a jam nut onto here so the screw can't turn, but I left enough play so that it can rotate so it doesn't bind the cable up. And then the screw coming from the top runs down and runs into the cable and jams the cable, and then it just came out with a spring setup behind it with a couple of tension settings. I think that should be fine though. I bent the choke up to clear the air cleaner. I re-drilled the air cleaner itself to rack it a little bit because this would have been straight up and down in the way of the choke. Plus I wanted something to tap off of for that spring return. Gas line set up. I think I used fuel injection line. It's kind of thick. Got a primer bulb set up. I drilled the cover for it. Ran the hose out down below, so it'll be just like a snowblower. You can give it a couple of primer shots to get her going. Kill switch wires are running up to the handlebars. I tucked everything up behind the gas tank and used pipe cleaners to just hold things together instead of electrical tape. So I used those cheapo levers, but it seems like it works pretty good. Brake levers are the ones that we saw on that bike upstairs, and I went and just kind of rustled up some different cables. That is the front. Yeah, he's kicking on. There's the front setup. That's kind of cobbled. It's pinching the cable. I may go change that later. I'm not sure. We have clearance around that. It works the front brake. And the back brake cable runs down to the back. That's more of a proper setup on that one. Seems like it works fine. What else am I missing? What else do we add? Gas tank's bolted down. And the kill switch is just the one that was on with that kit. Just shorts it out. We have a bunch of adjustments too on the fuel line. The throttle cable rather, and the brake cables are adjustable, so we'll see how they hold out. I think we're almost pretty good to throw some gas in her and maybe putter around a little bit. That looks better, doesn't it? All right, bend the handlebars a little bit, see what a pipe. I think they're still a little off, but it looks somewhat decent. Turn the gas off first. See if we get any leaks. I should probably stop there, huh? I'm just concerned where that barb is that I threaded into the tank. There's no sealer there, but it's a tapered fit. Let's see what we got. I don't see anything. Open her up, let her drink. So far so good. We'll give that a second. We get the gas tank off of there, put you back in the steam. Let's go fire it up. And choke on. Give her a couple of primer shots. There you go, leave the choke on a little bit. Gotta turn the idle up. I do have the air cleaner on, so I don't know if that affects it or not. I think what happened was when I drilled the tab out, I bent this little arm on it. I don't know why it's doing that. It's falling on its face. Like it's running lean all of a sudden. I think it does it and it kind of goes away, does it and it goes away. Do a one click on the choke. Run a little richer. Yeah. So I'm holding it steady and it's doing that on its own. I don't know if a spark is cutting out on it at like certain RPMs and it comes and goes, or if it's just starting for fuel and it comes back, starting for fuel and it comes back. I'm not sure. It's kind of acting that way a little bit too when we were screwing around with it before it was all together, and I thought possibly it was just how I was trying to feed fuel to it. So wherever the issue is still there. But we'll find it. It's all cobbled together stuff. Yeah, it's not a carburetor for that motor. It's actually a little too large. I don't think that's really an issue. Well, I see we put her down and putter around the garage a little bit. Kind of makes you feel big. And this is a bigger mini bike than normal. You know, the wheels are probably twice the size as a regular one. All right, let's see what we get. Pulls pretty good. It's not running right though. The clutch works nice. I was worried about that too. Yeah, it pulls nice. It holds a good RPM. Are you getting dizzy? Yeah, it's just a hesitation. Another thing is I don't have a kickstand. And we got one now. And scratch the paint. Yeah, pull. The RPMs could probably come up a little bit, how the clutch is coming in. And essentially, it should try to really hold, when you get on it, hold 1 RPM, which is probably about 2,500, 3 grand, right around there. And just hold that till you start getting to the upper range and not change too much. That way you're getting kind of the most power out of it. It seems decent. And that would be with playing with that spring setup that's on there. Excuse me. Yeah, so you gotta pull the carb off and just check the float bulb, make sure no crap went inside it. Start with that first. That could be the simplest of it, because it seems like it wants to run between one click of the choke on and not. Again, that's a carburetor made for a snowblower, not for a mini bike. It seems like it does okay. Worst case, we could switch over to the other one too. All right. We gotta wait for daylight. It's dark right now. Can't do anything outside. You won't be able to see any riding. Well, before I think digging a hole, we may want to just try throwing a new plug in it. That 50-year-old spark plug could be a bit of an issue. Look at the gap that's on that thing. Yeah, that could be part of the problem. See if I have anything to throw in there. I threw a taller plug in too, just to clear us. Get the arc of the wire a little bit further away from this. I don't think that was an issue, but gives us a little bit better space. See what it does. Cold start. Fuel. Give her not all the choke. A couple of squirts. See what we get. Same thing, no difference. Nut fell off one of the... Not quite sure where that fell out of. Got to tighten the back chain up a little too. Yeah. No good. Let's get that bowl off of there. A great spot for you guys to see, but let's get the fuel shut off. See if we can get the bowl off. And my only hope is that there's some water in it. Yeah. That's not gonna happen. A little bit of crap in there. Let's go turn the fuel on and see what kind of flow we get coming out of it. Although I lost half it on the ground, it has a weird, I think it has water in it. That would do it. When you turn the choke on, it draws up a little bit more. Let's get something we get underneath there with to capture it. There we go. Plus I want to see what kind of flow we get too. Plenty of flow. That's not an issue. Let's take a look at it. That looks okay. Let's go pour that. If you look, that kind of looks like water to me. It doesn't look like gas, and water just does not get sucked up. That'd be an easy fix if it was. Not spill it. Let's go pour that in there. It'll make it show up more. Yeah, you can see the water in the bottom of it. That would do it. Yeah, that was all water. Good. I'm gonna go let that kind of pee out a little bit. We'll put that float back on and we'll try it again. I don't know why it needs to run out the choke on. And let's try it again. Not as much water. There's water in it. Try it with no choke. That's better. Had me going for a second. Choke's all the way off. Uh-oh. You bitch. Might let it be like that for a little bit and see how it does once it warms up. Part of me wants to open up that main jet, a little bit more fuel come in, but it might be when it's warm, it might be okay. So I'll kind of play it by ear. Plus I can put the original plug back in it. It's gonna be the correct heat range. And one more time, we adjust that chain a little bit. Let's go for another Yahoo. Game time. I think one click. We'll leave it on one click. It seems like it runs fairly decent right there. choke. Choke's off right now. This might suck. Come on, baby, open up. Before I hit the ice. I don't think riding conditions are all that great. That's still falling on its face. See after it runs a little bit. Could be more water. I looked in the tank though, it looked pretty good. Wants to go and then blah. Probably doing about 20. I don't know. Not sure what's causing it. I'm going to open that main jet up a little, one size. Come on. Okay, a little bit more fuel. The other thing I'm thinking of too is this carburetor is kind of designed for a 5 to 8 horse, and this is like a 3.5. It just might be too large for it. And the carburetor kind of has to fall in the window of where the volume of air fuel going through it matches, because it's hard to set up the lower end volume of it. Let me try to explain it. So if you put a really huge carburetor on something that's really tiny, well, we'll over exaggerate. You put a 4-barrel on a mini bike, the amount of air flowing through the venturi of the carburetor is great enough to draw in what it needs to operate correctly, especially as far as the idle circuit too. The idle circuit would be kind of screwed up. So you kind of have to match. And if it's too small, then it's a restriction on the upper end. Put it back together one more time, see what we get. Here you can see the separation of the water now. That's how much water was in it. Half the bowl was filled. I thought that was it. So this is the bowl but I just drained out of it, and as you can see, there's water kind of like emulsified in it. I don't know if the fuel tank that I have, that I filled it with, might have been contaminated. I know the tank was dry. I even ran a heat gun through it and dried it all out. So I'm going to run all that fuel out of there, get all that gas out of there. I'm going to probably try to get some other stuff, and we'll run it with that. Apparently that's not working too good. I drained the whole tank out. Let's go put some of the ethanol-free stuff in it. And one more time. It's just the third time. Third time's the charm. And we'll give her a little choke, give her a shot of that. That'll run it all. What'd you do? Sure it chokes all the way off. It is. Nope. That was pretty good. Stay. Well, the whole backside of me is covered in mud and water. I think that fender needs to be a little bit taller. Oh well. Well guys, I think as far as we're going to get on this one, it's at 90%. It's not bad for a shakedown run. Again, I just think that carb might be a little bit too big for the engine, so I may have to do a little eBay shopping and get one that's a little bit better suited for it. Again, the weather's not really good for this until you know, springtime comes along. And I think we've done three or four of the little bikes. We got the Suzuki 80, the pit bike that we did last, and then this one. So I'm hoping in the springtime comes along, get a bunch of friends and we take them all out and just have some thrash runs with them, have a little bit of fun with them. But I like it. It's not bad for, you know, again, being a mini bike. I like the size of the wheels and the fact it's got front and rear suspension. It looks so much better red, wouldn't it? That color's good. I like that color. That's the original right there. So maybe when, yeah, sure. At some point, it wouldn't take all that much to tear it down and take the stuff off. You probably have it apart in 15-20 minutes and get all the stuff off it and, you know, scuff up that frame and shoot it red. I think it would really make it look much better than that, how you want to call that, butterscotch? I think it worked out pretty good for being a bunch of miscellaneous parts somebody took apart, put a different engine on it, and you know, that's kind of where they gave up. And you know, a box of just missing stuff. I have no idea what that was. And we're able to get it pieced back together. The only thing I really bought for it was tires, tubes, and the belt. Everything else was pretty much junk that I either had laying around or came with the bike. So she's a survivor. Bad for a 51-year-old toy. It's still around. Let's go see what the modern ones are going to be like 51 years from now, right? All right, guys. With that, I want to thank y'all for hanging out with me. Have a little bit of fun and a little bit of wrenching. Would have hoped to have gotten a little bit better tuned than that and do a little bit more ripping, but I guess I'll have to wait till spring on that. All right, guys. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. See ya. Bye. There's all the gas I drained out of it. You can see the water on the bottom of that too. Don't mind the dirt. The dirt's kind of like what washed off. The gas kind of ran down the side of the pull start a little bit. Put that water in there. I don't know. That was a fresh tank of gas too, and a fresh can. Must have to go put that in Brian's car. He's not looking. No wheels, huh, for the mini bike? Oh, there's one rim right there. Oh, there's a crate of parts right here.
Yeah, I think it's a real Rupp. It's got a Rupp seat on it.
Yeah, and a tank, yeah. That's pretty cool. There we go, that's better. We've been digging out parts. See what we got on this one. That's a clutch.
Atomic.
Yeah. That's what those other parts are too, right there. Should be a jack shaft. Or parts for the jack shaft. Yeah.
I bet you get 70 miles per gallon on that.